two types of ethics. There's negative ethics. And negative ethics tells us what not to do. And most companies do this. It's in your employee handbook. It's no employee shall, no employee shall, no employee shall, no employee shall. Now for the creative employee, they're going to look at that and think what? Now I know what I can't do. The rest must be okay. It's ethics, but it's the least form of ethics. Okay? And if you wanted to cover every possible behavior, you would need an employee handbook of 150,000 pages. And then leaders become cops, judge, and jury because now you got to watch them, don't you? The goal is positive ethics. And positive ethics gives us guidelines for what we should do. Guidelines. Because then who's accountable for the behavior? Everybody. Everybody. I'll give you an example. Have you ever stayed at a Ritz-Carlton when you travel? If you ever go to Ritz-Carlton, mug somebody for the Ritz-Carlton Basics card. Okay? Now, this is their... Now, we'll link this to ethics real quick here. Here's their statement. We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me ask you this. Is this not true? The more positive one's self-esteem is, the more ethical people are. I'm not talking ego. The more positive one's self-esteem is, the more ethical people are. The lower one's self-esteem is, the less ethical people are. So these are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. So a housekeeper is a lady and a bellman is a gentleman. Maybe. They have to take a test on these 20 before they're allowed to interact with you. Things like, and I'll just read you a couple. Notice how they're stated. All employees will know the needs of their internal and external customers so that we may deliver the products and services they expect. Number 8, any employee who receives a customer complaint owns it. That's pretty empowering, isn't it? Then I learned this personally. Escort guests rather than pointing out directions to another area of the hotel. Now, as you know, the last few years, the airline industry has had a stellar record of being on time. So I was delayed going into the West Palm Beach airport, and I got to the Ritz-Carlton at 1 o'clock in the morning, and my bladder overfloweth. I went to the bellman. Quick, men's room. He goes, sir, I'll take you. I've heard of Ritz-Carlton service. I want to see how far this was going to go. And he walked me down the hallway, and he points to, sir, the men's room's right there. I said, now you're not going in with me, are you? He said, sir, you're very funny. Our service stops at the door. And down the hall he goes. Now, I'm thinking, if you're so concerned about my bladder at 1 o'clock in the morning, imagine what the room is like, and the amenities, and room service, and towels. And how's Ritz-Carlton doing financially? Very well. 2 weeks later, I went to Atlanta, went to the Ritz-Carlton. Behind the desk was a young lady that had a trainee badge. She greeted me, and I said, do you have your Ritz-Carlton Basics card on you? She pulls it out of her pocket. I said, quick, what's number 8? She says, any employee who receives a customer complaint owns the complaint. A trainee knew it. Is that setting a culture? And I would also suggest that there are 4 words that you never use to help get buy-in. 4 words to never use. Are you ready? Number 1, never use the word can't. Can't just means you're not properly motivated. This is the 3rd word out of a kid's mouth. Mama, Papa can't. You know, I can't walk. I can't be potty trained. This is so much more convenient. Can't. I remember when my youngest was a senior in high school. He had 2 book reports due, 15th and 30th of every month. He comes home one day, sits at the dinner table, looks me right in the face and says, but Dad, I can't. I'm not properly motivated to read this book. I said, how many pages in the book? 150. How many days you got to do it? 10. I said, that's only 15 pages a day. Then he says, well, I could do that. We can do it. Because if you use the word can't, you'll find the way to blame somebody else, won't you? I'll tell you why I can't do it. Because she's an idiot. You know, or we tried that 2 years ago and it never flew, Orville. I mean, it's always somebody else. Second word I don't allow. My business, my home, or even in the classroom when I taught. The word problem. Let's get down to brass tacks here. You wake up in the morning and you have your health and you have love in your life. You have no problems. Are we in an agreement here? Every day is filled with opportunities. A problem is a negative. It's something you have. An opportunity, it's a positive, something we have. Imagine your execs when you express compliance as an opportunity. Because they're looking at it as what? A problem. What are we going to do to fix this? How many Band-Aids we got? And we need to see compliance not as a Band-Aid approach to an artery problem. Suture the sucker. And stop the bleeding. We look at compliance in this country as a Band-Aid approach to an artery problem. And we settle for that. Compliance in general. And that's why do you think the federal government said, we'll fix you, now it's mandatory. I'll fix you. Why? Because people said, Third word I don't allow. Failure. People don't fail, people quit. Let's call it as it is. Good and bad relationships are both results of hard work. You have to work real hard at killing it, and you have to work real hard at deepening it. If you're going to expend the energy, which way do you want to go? I told my students for years, please don't quit on me. Have to give you a quitting grade. Doesn't go as high as a Q, but if you quit, you get an F. Well, last year of teaching, my students voted for a take-home exam, the dopes. Can we agree? It's 2 weeks from Friday. Everyone but one turned it in. A week later, brings me his paper. I give it back. I said, line your birdcage with it. You bought the farm, Farquhar. You quit on me. I'll see you next semester. This is a theology course at Loyola. Next day, Mommy sends it to me, Federal Express, with a 2-page sermon. As Jesus is merciful, so should you be. I sent a 2-line letter home with the exam. Mercy is an attribute of God. Yours in Christ, frankbucaro. Bang! Mailed it back. You agreed, you quit, now you pay. That's what life's all about, isn't it? Logical consequences for behavior. If I fail, I blame someone else. If I quit, who do I blame? Fourth word I don't allow. Boredom. Or any derivative thereof. How many of you have kids? This is in their genetic structure. It's the first day of a day off of school or a spring break. We're bored. There's nothing to do. What do I look like? The Love Boat director? What? Are you out of your mind? Read a book, paint your room, chip ice, mow the grass. There's things to do. And boredom is ineffective use of the present moment, and someday you'll want that time back, won't you? And guess what? It's gone. I physically walk away from anyone that uses any form of the word boredom. My life is short enough the way it is. Why would I want to saddle myself with you? I don't get up in the morning looking for pain. Do you? Gee, I wonder if I can find someone to dump on me today. I think I'll go to work early.